a Bryan Danielson injury scare, the Hardy Boys returning to WWE, and my review of AEW Dynasty. I'm Ollie Davis, and this is the WrestleTalk News.
Support WrestleTalk!
Before I get into my AEW Dynasty review, here's a quick update on the Hardy Boys returning to WWE. Even though Jeff is still signed to AEW, even though Matt returned to TNA at their Rebellion show over the weekend. The Wyatt Six prediction lives. SmackDown KO feud.
Wyatt Six member.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he would be a good fit.
Yeah. So that's my fifth. I'll give you my sixth now, because they're not on this list. Matt freaking Hardy.
Okay. We've got the same. After Matt Hardy broke like it was 2016 and attacked world champion Moose after Rebellion's main event, he revealed on X that he's just dating TNA in a non-exclusive we can see other people relationship, which coincidentally is what your mum told me last night. No, I'm a free agent. I will appear when I want to appear. He's also spoken on his podcast about recently being in talks with both WWE and AEW. Meanwhile, Fightful is reporting Jeff Hardy's AEW contract is up much sooner than expected. It was previously thought that could be expiring in 2025, making him available to join his brother in any talks. What do you have the Hardy Boys do in the Paul Levesque era of WWE? Tell them to squeeze back into those mesh shirts in the comments down below. Now it's time for my review of AEW Dynasty in about 10 minutes. The 0 Hour pre-show saw Trent tap out Matt Sydal in his first match since being a very bad friend to Orange Cassidy. He told Chucky afterwards he wants to know what side he's on by Wednesday's Dynamite, but ran away from Cassidy and Shibata, who came down for the next match, tagging against Shane Taylor Promotions. They had a really decent match with some great sequences between Cassidy and Moriarty, which the babyfaces won. I would have had Trent cost them the victory somehow, so Shane Taylor didn't have to lose again. And the final 0 Hour match, the 0 Hour main event, if you will, saw Bullet Club Gold unify the AEW and Ring of Honor 6-man titles by beating the Acclaimed. You can make all the arguments you want about more people seeing the free matches, or that he's now got even more belts. Jay White being a pre-show act is a travesty. When Max Caster joked about that in his rap, the crowd didn't even react. They were too depressed. The match was fun in isolation, and Jay got to beat Daddy Ass, hitting a Blade Runner to win. Hopefully this feud is now over, and both teams and sets of belts can go on to better things. The main card opened with Kazuchika Okada defending his Continental Championship against Pac in an expertly building match. The pace was methodical, laid out to maximise the impact of the big moves. A top rope brainbuster from Pac, a draping DDT off the apron outside from Okada, a Black Arrow sending Pac's face right into Okada's knees, a single Rainmaker to win. While Okada was having fun being a heel, the best being when he fired up the crowd for the Rainmaker pose and just flipped a middle finger instead. Adam Copeland and his ROH friends took on the House of Black next in a 6-man tag designed to build the next big TNT title feud. Copeland versus Malachi Black. Malachi even got the pin on Edge after spitting the mist to set that up. But I was far more into King Bowl! The Battle of the Kings! Brody King versus Eddie Kingston, who chopped each other raw. Eddie got so fired up chopping at one point, he fell over. Julia Hart reportedly really is injured. While she got physical, she lost her title in just 6 minutes to Willow Nightingale, in a House Rules match where Willow banned not just Sky Blue, but her own friend Chris Statlander from ringside. Probably play into something. There's that Statlander-Willow tension. There's Willow's first title win. There's the unceremonious end to Julia's title reign. But much like most of the TBS title pictures so far, it's more about everyone asking, where's Monet? Monet? Where's Monet? Oh great, here she is. She's coming now. Willow was barely into her celebration when Mercedes walked down like it's 2019 WWE to have a smiling stare-off. To me, it undermined Nightingale's first AEW title win, which to me should have been an all-time women's division moment, making her feel like a transitional champ just seconds into her reign. And it still feels like Mercedes has actually done nothing since she arrived in AEW. Weeks and weeks. Stilted interview after stilted interview. The only thing I can tell you about her character is Willow once injured her, and the 3 letters C, E, and O. There was an opportunity for an angle after the quick loss. Have Chris and Stokely side with Monet and turn on Willow. Something. Anything. I was hoping Roderick Strong versus Kyle O'Reilly would be a sleeper hit. The International Championship might have really fallen in significance since Roddy won it, and the Undisputed Kingdom might have completely lost its way, but goddamn do I love 2010 Ring of Honor, and these two brought me right back to my markiest of Mark Marguson days. You like backbreakers? Well then you're in luck. We got backbreakers on the mat, we got backbreakers up in the air, we got backbreakers on the top turnbuckle. So many backbreakers, Roddy didn't even need Wardlow interference to retain. Strong beat O'Reilly clean in a fantastic hard-hitting match. The rest of the Undisputed Kingdom appeared on the stage afterwards, where Adam Cole stood up out of his wheelchair and jogged down to the ring. Hopefully that and a well-placed stink eye at Wardlow means this faction can get moving again after Cole's injury. Chris Jericho has made a career out of knowing when to leave the audience wanting more. His departures from WWE in 2005, 2010, 2018, it always felt like he was one step ahead into his next overrun. So how are we 6 months into 2024 and the crowd are still chanting, "Go home, Jericho, go home, and please retire"? The thing is, he's actually having good matches. His FTW Hardcore Rules match against Hook here was pretty decent. Hook suplexed him all over the place, Jericho took a big bump off the apron through a table, and he gave Hook a ton, letting him kick out of 2 Judas effects, which is rarer than a shiny Hooper or something. I don't know, I don't play Digimon. But the crowd don't want it. I don't want it. Jericho has go-away heat right now. So him winning the FTW title in yet another of his feuds that started with the babyface beating him for him to then win doesn't make me excited for TV. Thunder Rosa pulled off her mask to reveal a new look for her championship match against Toni Storm. Both a cool response from Toni rubbing off her makeup during the build and a larger meta commentary on Storm's fractured identity. Please read my dissertation. They had a very decent back and forth match, which lost its way a bit for me when Mariah May Luther and Deonna Purrazzo started fighting outside. Toni still cheated to hit the Storm Zero to win. And then came, I don't know, one of the greatest matches I've ever seen. To me, the next match felt like the main event. It didn't have a belt on the line like every other bout on this card. It had something more. For a promotion now built around being where the best wrestle, they were fighting to finally decide who the best wrestler in the world right now is. Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson, and the answer is yes. The crowd were chanting holy S-word before the bell even rang. Danielson was smiling, relishing the occasion. Ospreay was serious, focused. Danielson's grin didn't last long though. They had a lightning-fast sequence of reversals, feints and dodges. Bryan's face went from smiling to deathly serious, and he gave Will a middle finger. This really was delivering on the billing. They are deciding who the best wrestler in the world is, and I was in love with this match from about 2 minutes in. Danielson leaned more heelish, which is easy for the BCC tweeners, as Ospreay is a fantastic babyface. Bryan would lock Will in submission after submission, his speciality, while Ospreay will burst out into a flurry of athletic offense. Danielson hit a top rope tiger suplex. Will hit an os cutter on the apron. Danielson reversed the blade with a knee for an incredible near fall. The match had now thrillingly become big move after big move. Danielson cockily did the bicep pose in a triangle, but Ospreay picked him up for a one-arm Styles clash. Will went for an os cutter, but Danielson hit another knee. Anything you can do, I can do better. And it culminated, as so many of Will's matches do, with a gear above everything else you didn't know was reachable. Danielson started leading yes chants from one corner of the ring. Will was poised opposite him, removing his elbow pad for the hidden blade. It was like two warriors preparing for their final charge, both men equal up until this point, about to hit their last, best shot. Bryan's knee against Ospreay's blade. But Will was that little bit younger, that little bit quicker. He beat Bryan to the punch with a hidden blade, but Will didn't want to fire his best shot only to find out he'd only wounded Danielson, so he picked him up and hit a Tiger Driver 91, the same move that beat Kenny Omega, dropping him on his neck. Ospreay ran to the corner to prepare for one last hidden blade, so he missed Bryan's twitching and the referee calling for the medic. Something was wrong with Danielson's neck. But Ospreay was in kill mode, already running towards a spasming Bryan, and hit the hidden blade to win. It was a fantastic extra piece of drama at the end of one of the best matches I've ever seen. Will wanted to beat Danielson, but not like this. Is this the cost of being the best wrestler in the world? It sets up a story of Will's increasing heart potentially pushing him away from Don Callis. Ospreay said in the post-match interview he'll be retiring using that move so no one else gets injured. AEW did the injury angle very well, with many buying into Danielson being legitimately hurt. It's clearly a storyline to put your fears at rest, as Fightful is reporting the spot was planned. I wouldn't know how to ever follow that match, but if I'm ever going to, I want it to be with FTR and the Young Bucks. 3 hours into the card, 4.5 hours into the whole show with the 0 hour, after that incredible, emotional match, FTR and the Jacksons had a terrific ladder match. It's like the Bucks are more comfortable on ladders than they are in a normal wrestling ring, and Dax sure is comfortable bleeding profusely from his head. They had table bumps, pile drivers through ladder bridges, 450s off the top rope outside. It felt like each time was also locked in an anything you can do, I can do better war. But that was again FTR's downfall. Cash Wheeler went for a dive outside with shades of his 450 attempt from their first match for Nick to move and send him crashing through a table. Even with Cash taken out, Dax almost had it won, but a masked man ran in and pushed the ladder over for it to be revealed as scapegoat Jack Perry, with an excellent S-word eating grin. The Jacksons unhooked the belts to become the first ever 3-time tag team champions, draping the Elite with gold and likely adding Perry to the faction. The main event was made by the result, with Swerve Strickland dressed in Black Panther-inspired gear, winning the AEW World title. They had a great establishing setup, with Joe doing his walkaway spot for Swerve to have that already scouted, landing off the top rope on his feet, and then to reveal he also had the superior game plan, targeting Joe's arm, meaning when he got the Coquina clutch locked in, it wasn't as squeezy as usual, and he survived. Joe used a snap power slam on the exposed concrete outside instead, or got his world title for a weapon at one point, but Swerve overcame all. He even kicked out of a muscle buster. Given the build to this match, which was based around Swerve loving bloodbaths and Joe being scared by the violent depth Strickland can go to, this did feel a bit like it was missing that extra edge. Not that one. It ended up as the 4th longest match on the card, somewhat undermining their war of attrition. It was a great moment though, and I'm incredibly excited for Swerve as champion. Thank you, Joe. I will be forever grateful your title win wasn't just for Christmas. AEW Dynasty is 85%. Now go watch my documentary on the rise of Cody Rhodes. Here's a clip. That gave birth to a nightmare, but not the good kind.
Finish the story already.
I've not even technically started the story. I've not even done the intro to the start of the story.
Finish the story.